The city of Nkwazi never truly rested. Even in the quiet hours before dawn, when the streets should have been empty and the noise should have faded into silence, there was always something stirring. Distant horns, murmuring voices, the hum of generators, and the restless breath of people chasing dreams that often slipped through their fingers. It was a city of promise and of deception. Tall buildings stood shoulder to shoulder like watchful giants. Street lights flickered, casting long shadows that danced across cracked pavements. Vendors slept beside their stalls, guarding goods that were never truly safe. In this city, beauty was admired. But beauty, as many had learned too late, could also be a mask. At the heart of Olumba Street stood a modest church, the House of Living Praise. It was not the largest in the city, nor the most magnificent. Its walls were simple, painted cream, and its roof bore the marks of years of sun and rain. Yet, inside, it carried a warmth that drew people in. Every Sunday, the sound of singing spilled into the streets like a river of hope.
Hallelujah.
At the center of that sound was Daniel Okoro, the choirmaster. He was a man in his mid-40s, tall, calm, and composed. His voice carried both strength and tenderness. When he raised his hand, the choir followed as though guided by an unseen force. Daniel was respected, not only for his gift, but for his discipline. He lived alone in a small apartment devoted to his work and his faith. Many said he had sacrificed too much for the church, his youth, his time, even the chance of building a family. But Daniel never complained. He believed his life was already full. Until the day she arrived. It was a Sunday morning like any other. The choir had just begun their opening hymn when the church doors creaked open, and she walked in. Heads turned. Even the choir faltered for a brief moment. She was striking. Her skin glowed like polished bronze. Her dress shimmered softly, not loud but impossible to ignore. Her eyes were deep, calm, and unreadable, as though they carried stories no one could understand. She moved with quiet grace and took a seat near the middle of the congregation. Daniel noticed her, not because he intended to, but because it was impossible not to. For a moment, his hand hesitated in the air. Then he continued. But something had shifted. After the service, people gathered as they always did, laughing, greeting, exchanging stories. She remained seated until an elderly woman approached her. "Welcome, my dear. You are new here." The lady smiled softly. Yes, she replied. My name is Amara. The name seemed to settle in the air like a whisper. Amara. Beautiful, graceful, gentle. Yet something about it lingered longer than it should. Amara began attending every Sunday, then Wednesdays, then every program the church held. She sat quietly, never drawing attention to herself. Yet, attention followed her all the same. And Daniel began to notice more. The way she listened during sermons. The way her lips moved softly during prayers. The way her eyes often rested on him, just for a moment too long. At first, he dismissed it. But the heart is a patient thing. And when it begins to open, it does so quietly. Their first real conversation happened by chance. Also, it seemed. Daniel was arranging music sheets when he heard her voice. "You lead beautifully." He turned. She stood there, calm and composed. "Thank you," he replied, slightly taken aback. "You make people feel something," she continued. Not many can do that. Daniel felt a warmth he had not known in years. They spoke for a few minutes. Then a few minutes became longer conversations. And soon, those conversations became something more. The church rejoiced when they announced their engagement. Some were surprised. Daniel had always been cautious, reserved. Yet here he was, smiling in a way they had never seen before. Amara stood beside him, radiant. God has brought her, Daniel said, and no one questioned it. Because sometimes, happiness can silence even the wisest doubts. The wedding was beautiful. Songs filled the air. Laughter echoed through the hall. Amara wore gold, not bright or loud, but soft, glowing gold, as though she carried light within her. Daniel looked at her with deep affection, and for a moment, everything seemed perfect. The change began quietly, so quietly that Daniel almost missed it. Amara no longer woke early for prayers. She began to question his time at church. "Do you not think you spent too much time there?" she asked one evening. Daniel smiled gently. "It is where I am needed."
It is where
she said nothing,
am needed.
But her silence felt heavy. Her tone began to change. Soft words became sharp. Gentle suggestions became commands. "You will stay home today," she told him one Sunday morning. Daniel hesitated. "I have responsibilities." "Responsibilities to who?" she interrupted. The question lingered in the air, and for the first time, Daniel did not have an answer. Weeks passed, then months. Daniel's presence in church began to fade. At first, people made excuses for him. He must be busy. He will return. But he did not. The choir struggled without him. The music lost its strength, and whispers began. Those who saw Daniel outside church barely recognized him. His eyes were tired. His voice lacked warmth. He avoided conversations. And always, Amara was near, watching, silent. One night, an elderly woman from the church came to his house. She stood at the door, firm and unafraid. "Daniel," she said, this is not you." He tried to dismiss her, but her eyes held something deeper. Not all that glitters is gold," she whispered. The words struck him like a distant echo. That night, Daniel could not sleep. His mind raced. Memories flooded back. The joy he once felt, the peace he once knew, and the growing darkness around him. For the first time in months, he prayed. The next morning, Daniel stood before Amara. "I am returning to church," he said firmly. Her eyes changed. For a moment, just a moment, they darkened. "You will not," she replied coldly. I will. The room seemed to grow colder. What happened next was something Daniel would never forget. The calm mask she wore began to crack. Her voice shifted. Her presence changed. And in that moment, Daniel understood. He had not married what he thought he had. Daniel ran. Not out of fear, but out of realization. He returned to the church, fell to his knees, and cried out. The congregation gathered. Prayers filled the air like fire. It was not instant. It was not easy, but slowly the weight lifted. The darkness broke, and Daniel was free. When Daniel returned home, Amara was gone. No note, no trace, no sign she had ever been there. Only silence. Life in Nkwazi continued. The city remained restless. The church still sang, and Daniel returned to his place, not as the same man, but as one who had seen beyond appearances. In a world where beauty shines and charm deceives, wisdom must guide the heart. For not all that glitters is gold, and not every light leads to truth.